in Massachusetts, Hayley continues to train for the Delaware State competition. Powering on despite a broken heart, she nevertheless has not wavered in her quest for muscle, and the process still has the ability to lift her spirits.
You know, I've had my quest for getting huge, and that's been, you know, all I've wanted to do. And a lot of people are like, well, now you're huge. They were like, well, you're huge now. And I'm like, well, I know I look huge in my pictures, but I don't feel huge all the time. So I had to change my MySpace name from gonna get huge to gonna get hugerer, so I didn't look like I had a complex. You know, but the quest for getting huge will never end. You know, there's no limit. There's probably, I mean, I hope there's a day that I'll be able to look in the mirror 100% of the time and be like, yeah, dude, I'm huge. I've accomplished my goal, you know, but still, I was telling you earlier, half the time, I'm like, oh my God, I have so much work to do. I have so much work to do.
A female with muscle is still an unusual sight outside of the world of bodybuilding. And here on the University of Massachusetts campus, where Hayley is studying psychology, she gets the stares and questions that most female bodybuilders have to become accustomed to. Fortunately, in this environment, it's not that big of an issue.
Sometimes girls would be like, oh. But if I became friends with those girls, they would think it was the coolest thing ever. You have no idea the amount of not only attention, but respect that I get for looking the way I do and doing what I do. I would hate to be skinny and normal looking.
Hayley's defiance of paradigms of feminine body image has had an unforeseen consequence on her roommate Shane, encouraging him to take control of an aspect of his life that, until he met Hayley, was kept secret.
I came out of the closet because of her. You know, I was this timid, shy person, and she went around UMass, she's like, yeah, this is my gay roommate. Is that a problem? Like, just this, like, you're going to accept it. She was like assertive, she was my bodyguard.
Dude, I met Shane and he was this like anxious, like person that was just, like didn't want to talk to anyone. And he was just so scared of everything. The first time we ever hung out or had dinner together, he just sat there and like looked at the table the whole time as I was talking to other people.
I had such a hard time freshman year because I was coming out and I was heartbroken because I started dating the first person I ever dated. I was crushed when, you know, I found out it didn't mean anything. You know, she was the one supporting me, so when I saw her breakdown, that was so hard.
I've just watched him turn into this really confident, awesome, funny, just amazing person, just like right in front of my eyes as when we met, and then we've lived together for 2 years. Now he's proud of being gay. Yeah, and then I got him working out, and then, you know, the more time we spent together, the more he started eating better, and he's gained like, I don't know, 40 pounds or something. And so like the bigger he's gotten and the more he's realized that people really don't give a shit that he's gay, his personality has kind of changed into, you know, what it probably would have been otherwise.
I am glad I went here because I met Hayley.
Shane's newfound confidence is a testament to the far-reaching psychological effects of bodybuilding. The lessons and strengths learned from transforming one's physique can extend far beyond the gym to all aspects of life.
Okay, I'm okay, we're good, let's go.
Okay. And Hayley's going to need all the confidence she can get in order to do well at her first bodybuilding competition.
Okay, she's a middleweight, she's a middleweight.
Shaken by the breakup, but convincing herself that by continuing on with the training she had started with Dave, somehow this would bring them back together, she has arrived at the 2009 Delaware State competition, hopeful but anxious.
You talked to Dave?
Yes.
When? You're lying. What did he say?
He's in Jersey, like near the shore today.
What's up?
He didn't say he was with someone. And he said that he's like 2 hours away. And I mean, I didn't know whether to tell you or not, but like, I don't want you to go over there and think he's going to be there, because he's not.
I actually thought it was going to be like some little setup thing where Dave was going to come in, happy ending, ride off into the sunset. So that still wouldn't surprise, I don't know, even though they're broken up, even though everything that happened, I just saw the way they were together, and I've told Dave, it's like, dude, I'm going to support you whether you get with her or you don't, but for some reason, I can't see them apart.
Watching her pose that day, it was kind of a beautiful thing. Hayley had taken all of that sublimated pain and tears and turned it into something wonderful. But for her, something big was missing.
I expected to see Dave at the Delaware, and I kept telling myself that because if I wasn't going to see Dave, I was not going to be able to keep it together during my prep. That was the only motivation I had at that point. And every hour that goes by, I realize Dave's not going to be at the show. And I knew that the whole time, and I've been lying to myself the whole time. None of this was worth it. I don't care about any of this. All I care about is getting back with Dave, and I don't care about any of this. I don't care. And I was just absolutely miserable. It was one of the worst days of my life.
Contest promoter and the chairman of the NPC in Maryland, Richard Siegelman, recognizes Hayley's potential and asks her to compete at the Maryland State competition in 2 weeks, a show which he is also running.
She had the look, yeah. She had the look. Yes, she did. Went at weigh-ins and check-ins, and she was there, and I looked at Scott, and I said, wow, this girl looks good. And she's got that look. I mean, she had that feminine look. She had a nice, still soft, pretty face. She had a nice feminine physique. Now, she had some muscle, but not overbearing muscle, not that gnarly, hard, dry look that guys have. I mean, she was feminine. And then she got on stage, and it was a no-brainer. And Scott and I said, this girl is going to go places.
Hayley turns down the offer to do another show and begins the long ride home.
And then on the way back, and either you or Chris told me on the phone or text was, Dave's gonna be at the Maryland next week. And I was like, it looks like I'm competing at the Maryland.
It is common practice for competitive bodybuilders to sometimes do several shows in a row. They will capitalize on a strong performance by trying to hold on to or even improve their contest-ready condition and piggyback an additional show and hopefully an additional win. As promised, Dave is here to oversee the last-minute preparations for a client. Hayley and Dave notice each other, but they perform an awkward dance before giving in and finally greeting each other.
It was really difficult. Honestly, I didn't want to be there. I would not have gone there if I didn't have a competitor in the show. So because I had a competitor in the show, I had to go there. I didn't want to see her. I would have avoided it if I could, but I couldn't. So I went there and I did the best I could. I didn't want to be a dick and I didn't want to be mean to her, so I was nice to her. And she was really happy to see me, obviously, and we spent the day together and I just did the best I could at hiding how I really felt. It was very upsetting for me. It was difficult for me, but I got through it.
Our 2009 East Coast Classic Women's Bodybuilding overall winner is competitor number 20.
I really thought, actually, at the Maryland, that after that, everybody thought that we were going to get back together because of the way we acted and how it was. And it was funny because the week before, that had been like one of the worst days of my life, and the Maryland was probably one of the best days of my life. I was finally happy from the work I had done for 2.5 years, every day, nonstop, and it had finally paid off, and the man I loved was sitting there pretty much almost crying. He was so proud of me.
Limitless potential. And after I saw her in her show, with just like 6 weeks of prep and what she was able to pull off, and not just the fact that she won the overall, because really the competition, well, it was kind of light at both shows, but more to the point, the way she looked, her symmetry, her proportions, her ability to put on muscle, her posing presentation that she put together herself, she's just a natural. Some people are born for the sport, and some people can never excel at it no matter what they do. She was just born to be a bodybuilder. It's what she was meant to do.
After her back-to-back wins, the bodybuilding community really begins to take notice of and actively promote Hayley. She becomes a darling of the bodybuilding forums, somewhat of a celebrity, with all the positives and negatives that go along with that. She was even invited, along with several better-known and more experienced competitors, to participate in a pilot for a female bodybuilding reality series. Hayley was flown out to Las Vegas and spent several weeks living in a house together with the other women and the videographer whose brainchild this project was.
The diet, and I have to get to 5% body fat by July 10th. You know what? I don't even want to. I will roast my fucking boiled chicken in the fucking house because I don't want to hear shit from you guys.
Nothing much ever came of it, but the attention was heady stuff for the 22-year-old from Massachusetts. For someone so new to the sport, this level of notoriety was unprecedented, and certainly what Hayley had been hoping for when she first began to dream of becoming a bodybuilder. One of the reasons that everyone is so excited to see a female bodybuilder like Hayley is because for a few years now, the powers that be have been attempting to save female bodybuilding by asking the athletes to scale back their physiques. Declining interest in the excessively muscled women now populating the professional bodybuilding stage has caused a nostalgic backlash for the classic female bodybuilders of the so-called golden age of the 80s and 90s. Hayley's physique and feminine facial features fit perfectly with the desires of the promoters who increasingly see female bodybuilding as a money-losing proposition. Despite the best intentions of the promoters and the encouragement of the fans, what happened the following year at the 2010 Team Universe would eventually lead to Hayley's withdrawal from competitive bodybuilding.
Everybody wants to be the dude that's always in command and comfortable, but that's not who I am.
I cannot stand up for more than 15 to 20 seconds.
Forget the show and get yourself to the hospital if you feel that bad.
That is not happening.
I really truly believe it was totally psychosomatic.
We really gave you a very limited access. I needed that situation to last.